Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing well. In today's video, I wanted to talk about failure and kind of how to deal with this feeling of failing. I pretty much just wanted to share some thoughts that I've been having on this topic, but I thought I would switch it up a little bit and share with you a story from my personal life where I really felt like I failed and then kind of explain with those examples. So yeah, that's the plan for today, and I really hope that you enjoy. For this story, we have to go back to 2019. At this point, I was living on Bali and I was getting more and more into photography and videography again. So I decided to work as a photographer for some brands and companies as a little side job. It was going really well and I really enjoyed all of the experiences that I was having and the people I was meeting through it. And during the end of my trip, a friend of ours got in touch with me because he was launching his company and his brand, and he needed a photographer on a budget to take a bunch of photos for him. And he asked me if I would want to do that job, and I decided to say yes. I ended up working on the project for about 2 months in the end, so it was really a big thing. And it was also a super stressful project because there were a lot of things going wrong, a lot of stress, a lot of deadlines, a lot of people involved. Anyways, after those 2 months of working on this project, it was time for me to fly back to Germany, which is what I did. And that was kind of the time when I wanted to start editing all of the footage. And so when I arrived, I figured it would be a good idea to kind of buy a hard drive where I'd be able to store and back up everything to make sure that nothing happens to the footage. And that's exactly what I did. I ordered a hard drive that I had used in the past already before that is supposed to handle everything. You can throw it off of a 5-meter building, you can drive over it with a truck, you can throw it into water, I don't know, you can do anything with it and it's supposed to not break. So I delete a bunch of stuff and pull it all onto that one drive so that everything is organized. And then in the next few days, I'm going to start backing up everything into the Google Drive just to make sure that I have it saved twice just in case. So a few days later, I'm editing on my laptop and my brother comes into my room and he throws a pillow onto me, kind of as a joke, I guess. And Lord knows how, but somehow that pillow lands exactly onto the hard drive, and the hard drive falls onto the floor, onto my carpet. I plugged the hard drive into my laptop and it broke. I knew in that moment when it was making these click noises that this is unsavable. The footage is gone. That is my little story of a time where I really felt like I had completely failed. And now for today's video, I wanted to share some things that I would tell myself back then, now from who I am today, of how to deal with this feeling of failure and honestly what to do with it. So yeah, there are a few things that I would like to say to this version of myself, and those are the things that I would like to share for today's video. Number one is that you tried your best. I think in situations where we feel like we failed, our first instinct is to think about what we could have done differently or what we did wrong. And that's a hard one, especially when there are other people involved who you feel like you failed. And also then when those people tell you you should have known better. But just because someone else with more experience and knowledge in that field would have done it differently or wouldn't have failed doesn't mean that you didn't try your best. We always try our best, and our best has to be good enough because it's pretty much all that we have at all times. And so to just know that even though it might have not been perfect, even though now you would do it differently, even though it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel great, you still tried your best, and your best has to be good enough because, as I said, it's all that you have. Number two, failure is better than never trying. I've had countless moments in my life where I felt really, really scared to do something and then I failed. And same with that photo project. I mean, I wasn't confident going in. I was very, very scared that I would mess up, and I had never done anything like this before. But nonetheless, I managed to gather all of my confidence and still go for something that I would have normally not said yes to, and that was very much out of my comfort zone. It's like the famous quote that says, "The one who falls and gets up is stronger than the one who never tried. Do not fear failure, but rather fear not trying." I'm glad I tried, and that's something to be proud of in every situation, and that deserves a celebration in the first place. And of course, you want to be aware that you don't cause harm to other people and kind of are reckless in that way. But if you never intended to cause anyone harm and it happens, then that's also just part of life sometimes. All of the countless moments of failure that I've had in my life, they have made me who I am today, and they have taught me so much about how to deal with people and about myself and about my own fears and all of those kind of things. And I would rather be who I am today with all of those failures than still be the person I was 3 years ago and someone who would have never even tried, because then I would have never grown and I'd still be the same person I was back then, which I would not want to be. Number 3, it doesn't matter what others are thinking. If no one would have known about my failure and I would have just lost all of the time and effort that I put in, I would have been very annoyed, but I definitely wouldn't have beaten myself up the way that I did and for as long as I did. And that's because oftentimes when we have this feeling of failure, the worst part of it all is, what are others going to think? How did we disappoint others with this? Or just in that moment, it's all about what are others thinking about this and what will others think about this. For me, it was more about realizing that it doesn't matter what anyone else is thinking. I'm sure a lot of people involved thought that I'm unqualified or maybe even stupid, or that I shouldn't have done what I did. But it was for me more to learn that I had to know what I know about myself, and I had to know that I did try my best and that I'm not stupid and I'm not unqualified. So yeah, if I would be able to go back to that version of myself now, I would say to just try and hold what you do know about yourself, and that it really doesn't matter what anyone else is thinking. It really does not matter, no matter how bad what they are thinking about you is. It's about what you think about yourself and what you know about yourself. And then the last one is just breathe. I realized that, of course, what had happened wasn't fun, and I wasn't excited to go back and tell everyone what had happened. But I also realized once I calmed down that it's still not the end of the world. The world does keep spinning and other things are happening on this world enough. It is not reason enough for me to move away and leave society, which is what I did think in that moment. And also when you calm down, you're able to have solutions and ideas that actually make sense, because once I calmed down, which sadly took a couple of days, I realized that a lot of the footage had been backed up, and it was actually only the video footage which I had lost. The photos I was able to back up in time. And even if I wouldn't have backed up any of the footage and everything was gone, which gladly, thank God, wasn't the case, but even if that would have happened, it's still not the end of the world. The feeling of failure can really suck, but I think oftentimes we go so much into that feeling that we forget that actually failure does show that you even tried in the first place. And that's what I said, that deserves a celebration in the first place. Every time you fail, it shows that you tried, and it makes you who you are today. And failure is actually a very, very important part of life. It's a very important part of experiences. It's a very important part of growth. And it's also a normal part of life that everyone experiences and goes through. And it can actually also be a very positive thing that you can learn from. So yeah, those are all of the things that I would tell myself back then. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed. As always, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out some other videos of mine. I will leave them on the screen now. And yeah, thank you so much, and I really hope to see you in my next video.